Hey everyone, this is Omar Pineda with eXp Realty, your Austin realtor. And today I'm very excited to show you this because I've been working on this for the last couple months now, just trying to piece it together, collect everything, just putting and organizing all this information is an endeavor in and of itself. So I put together on Notion. For those of you who are not familiar with Notion, it's a software, it's a platform online where it's just a great tool to organize any subject you want to learn because you can embed video links to almost anything, and it's just very friendly with integrating other websites. So in this ebook, I put together something for home buyers. So if you're in the market to buy something soon, or maybe you're just getting started, this is going to be a great resource and starting place because I cover it all. So I just want to give you like a little preview of like what this book is about, and if there's something that interests you, then please feel free to comment below, and more than likely I could probably email you this ebook. But if you already have a Notion account, then I'd be more than happy just to share this and add you to this so you could take a look at it, because I think you get more out of it if you are already signed up with Notion. So really quickly, this kind of shows you how to get the most out of this book, and I really just want you to use this as, oh, you don't have to go in order, right? I do have 4 chapters here, but you can bounce around because chances are you probably have an idea of what the home buying process looks like. So there's no reason to kind of go in order if you can jump around. And I encourage you to jump around because that way you can see what everything looks like, where everything is, and just kind of how it's laid out. That way you can maybe jump to the good stuff, right? I know when I'm learning something new, I always kind of do that myself anyways, where I just kind of scan everything, just jump around to see how everything works, and I never go in order because I'm just too impatient, right? So it's how I kind of put this together. You don't have to go in order, right? But so it's up to you, and I really want you just to play with it really, so you can see how everything works, especially if you're not familiar with Notion. So the very beginning of the part is how to get the most out of the book, and this is a little about me on why I do. So the very first chapter, which is introduction, I'm always going to have some type of motivational kind of little picture here, just to kind of, that's the first thing you see, and hopefully, it'll get you through at least the first 25 minutes. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Pomodoro technique, this is, time and time again been proven to, if you're ever learning something, especially when it comes to your attention span, 25 minutes is like the magic number. So if you just learned or read this ebook 25 minutes a day, you'd probably figure it out. You'd probably easily get through it in a month. Easily, right? Because I do have a lot of content on here, but all these videos are short, right? They're under 5 minutes. I really try to keep in mind your time and not to have anything really long and drawn out. So just so you understand like the kind of flow and format of this, in the beginning, I really want you to read it, to read this, because it's kind of give you a little preview of what the videos are, right? It's kind of like if you ever went to college and you're supposed to do the reading before the lecture to get the most out of that lecture. So it's not this is the first time you're hearing it. Even though I never did that, I hope you do that with this, because they're really short. These aren't super long posts, And if you're viewing this, I think this is best to view on a desktop. You can easily view this on your phone because Notion does have an app, but I think viewing it on a desktop, it's just the way it looks is a lot more better. And I prefer it visually, right? Because I think visually learning, the way you read something or look at something, especially if it helps me kind of get through it when it's just not just a bunch of words. And one thing I like about Notion is that, notice how, like, if you're Googling something, there's advertisements everywhere. Here, it's just the information, right? So all this is clickable. In Notion, these are all pages that are clickable. And so you have a read column and like a watch column, and then stuff you can print from, right? So all this under the watch column are videos, right? And I took learning bit on a two-front approach, where you have a logical side and an emotional side to the home buying process, right? So the logical side is going to give you a lot of the breakdowns of like what to expect when buying a home, what's the difference between a pre-qual and a pre-approval. And where do you start? A mortgage lender or a realtor, right? So if you click on one of these, it's just a video, right? You can play it from right here, right? This is embedded from my YouTube channel. And then the emotional approach. Now, this is one I'm particularly proud of because this is my more recent work, and I'm really happy with how everything came out because I just gotten better with editing and just gathering information. And this was a fun rabbit hole to go down, which was looking at the psychology of decision making when it comes to buying a home. Right? I think this is applicable to like anything that you have to decide on, right? And uh, this and it goes down the psychology because we are terrible decision makers as humans. And I'm including myself in that. And when it comes to buying a house, one of the biggest probably purchases you're ever going to make, that is why the statistic of 59% of home buyers found finding the right home as the most difficult part of the home buying process. And that was from a survey done by the National Association of Realtors. So more than half of buyers last year said that finding the right home was the most difficult part. And I think that's because the decision making part, when it comes to all the things in this process, right? And understanding the psychology behind it, understanding that there are biases that you're going to have to overcome and acknowledge and be self aware of. And if this is not something that your realtor that you're working with now, or you just never heard of some of these terms, then this is going to be great for you because you're going to learn all this stuff, right? The importance of having a clear plan when buying a home, right? Let's take a look at this one. This is a 2-minute video, right? So I try to keep it nice and short to respect your time. So I know we are all busy people, and you rather be watching or streaming something on your downtime than watching videos than watching my videos. So this one's 2 minutes and 32 seconds, right? So these are nice, short, and sweet, just to give you an idea. And the whole point of this is just so you're doing your due diligence, right? You're doing your research because you don't want to go into anything being completely unaware of what's going on, or just relying on that person to, and taking their word for gospel, right? I know that's how I approach things. I'm gonna do my own research, my own homework, and that way I come to you asking better questions. Because if you come asking better questions, it's just going to be a better outcome. Just like, if you were a student and watching the lecture beforehand, and that way you ask better questions in class, right? So, okay, I kind of just went too fast there. So you have the logical side and emotional side. This is all video content. Here, this is really cool because you can actually print stuff out. And this is like, so this is building on what we're watching and reading, right? So prioritizing preferences, creating a clear plan for your home search, right? This is just reiterating what this chapter was about, so we can stay on our true north, right? Because it's so easy to get sidetracked or to not remember something because there's so many things going on. I mean, think about it. You're adding this huge decision on top of your already busy life, so it is going to be a lot to handle and take on, right? So this is meant to help mitigate that, to help maybe bring some clarity and to keep you organized and on track. Because if that's one thing I am known for, is being highly organized and staying on track with all my stuff, right? So again, chapter 2 is about the psychology of decision making, right? So you have a handful of stuff to read. Again, these aren't big things to read, right? It's very short and sweet. And you have your logical approach, and these are all videos for the logical part of your brain, and emotion and videos explain like the emotional side of your brain. Because when you're going through this, you're going to be experiencing all these things. How to overcome anchoring bias. So anchoring bias, confirmation bias, and decision fatigue. Those are things that we take a deep dive, or we have not deep dive, but a video on, right? We can take a deep dive in conversation in person, because I could talk about this stuff all day, because I find the psychology behind decision making fascinating. And this is like, just, again, applicable to all aspects of your life, not just the home buying journey. So And you'll probably know if you watch my content. This is my earlier work up top, and this is my more recent work on the bottom. So these videos are just, I think, just better. I got better at editing and just better at just presenting information and getting more comfortable in front of the camera. So you'll see this as just a lot better, I think, content. And again, this is super important. The home buyer questionnaire, right? These are questions you want to start asking yourself, right? To get familiar with what your wants, what your deal breakers are, what your must-haves are. That way you have that in mind before we go home shopping, right? Because I believe that is a problem why people have a tough time, because this is never even discussed, right? It's just like, and there's another data point where it's like, what's the first thing that home buyers do when they're shopping for a home? Is they go online and look at the houses. So that's telling me that they go on Zillow, they go on Realtor.com, and they start home shopping. Well, without asking themselves any of these questions, like, what are your must-haves in a home? How important is the home's curb appeal to you? Are you willing to take on a fixer-upper or move-in ready home? How much time are you willing to spend on your home search? What is your timeline for finding and moving into a new home? Those are big ones right there, right? Those are big ones, because if time is on your side, then we can, then you can be a little bit more pickier. But typically, it doesn't work out that way. You're usually on a time crunch. Then we have to remember what our long-term goals are, and just because we don't check every box, we buying a home, especially here in the Austin area, we know it's a good financial decision because the appreciation. And again, unless this is your forever home, then there's a different way to approach this, right? So one thing I really like about Notion is that I create these little to-do lists, kind of little check boxes right here, right? So, I mean, granted, I understand that you probably won't read all this or go through everything in one sitting. So it's just nice. It's just a nice way to keep track of your progress, right? And if you feel the need to take a break, these are all clickable links, right? This one takes you to my website, so you can start looking at houses in the Austin area. Let that load up for a second. There you go. There it is. And maybe you can set up your own, set up your own profile like you would with Zillow. That way you can use my MLS access to look up homes around in whatever neighborhood you want to see. And then if something doesn't make sense or you want to work with me, here we go. We'll schedule a quick 15-minute chat just to kind of see where you're at in the process, so I can learn more about your needs and how I can best be of service. That's what this is for, right? And again, it's a quick 15-minute chat. It can be done virtually. If you like things done in person, we can set that up as well. But I always typically like to do the virtual chat right away. That way we can, because I know it's fresh in your mind, and I really want you to get in contact with me very easily, and that's what this little one touch right here is for, right? That takes you to my Calendly to set up a 15-minute chat. And chapter 3 is developing the home buying plan. Okay, I gotta wrap this up soon. So again, same format. You read some, you watch some. I have videos for that. That's the logical side, where we're talking about tips to get your offer accepted. Don't fear higher interest rates. What happens after your offer is accepted? And again, the beauty of this is that you don't have to go outside of Notion. Everything is clickable. Everything is embedded on here, which I think is fantastic, right? So you're not going to have a million tabs open. And again, finding your dream home without losing your mind, a guide to beating decision fatigue, right? And again, where it says the guide, I have it right here that you can print out, right? Home buyer must-haves, prioritizing essential features for your dream home, right? This is something that we're going to go over again when we're doing when I'm onboarding you as a buyer client. I mean, this is part of my process, my system, where after we have our 15-minute chat, and then we're probably going to do a follow-up talking about all this stuff. I'm going to send you all this stuff. We're going to talk about this stuff, right? Because from this list, we're going to look at, okay, what are your top 3 prioritizing must-haves for a home? And we're going to have that with us when we're going home shopping. That way, each home we look at, you're going to have that on top of your head, and we're going to make a note of that. That way, after we spend a weekend looking at homes, and let's say we looked at 10 or 12 of them, which is a lot, that can all seem like kind of a lot of stuff can fall through the cracks. And if we're not documenting, or at least have a system on how we're viewing homes, not just going in and out and just trying to get it done, then that's where the difficulty lies from that. And that's where I think that statistic is so high. where home buyers are finding the right home difficult because you don't have this in mind. You haven't really sat down and thought about what are my must-haves, what are my deal breakers, and what's my long-term goals, what are my short-term goals, right? And this guide talks about all that. I will walk you through all that, right? This is something to, if you want and never want to speak to me again, I want to provide to you because I believe in education, marketing. But if this is something that you're like, oh, this is pretty cool, and you're looking for a home in the Austin area and you want to hire me, you want to work with me, you're going to get this, and you're going to get the benefit of me that and my knowledge, because we could talk about this in greater detail, right? We can go down rabbit holes of decision making, because that is a wonderful thing just to be aware of, because you can apply that to like every aspect of your life, right? So we just looked at the must-haves. Now this is the deal breakers, right? Again, questions to ask yourself. This is just to kind of get the ball rolling, right? So you can start thinking about these types of things, right? Not just like the pretty pictures or looking online, because I know that's the fun part, but this really gets into the nitty-gritty here, right? Which I think if we answer these questions and have a clear image in our mind and take that with us, this is what's going to make that home buying process super smooth, and you're not going to feel like you're going to be content with your decision. And lastly is the conclusion, kind of wrapping things up and just kind of re-emphasizing certain points I really want you to grasp, and just driving home like, hey, there's a system. I have a system in place. I want you to benefit from my system, because having a system, having a process when it comes to, looking for a home and doing the whole home shopping thing is critical to it being smooth. So it could be a smooth transaction. So you could be happy throughout the whole thing. So we mitigate our risk. So we make it more fun, because this is going to be fun. There's going to be moments where maybe something doesn't go our way, but hey, you have me in your corner. And now maybe I think a big part of kind of disappointment is because there was a lack of clarity in the upfront part of just introductions and kind of walking you through of like and expectations, like really setting in the expectations from the get-go, right? One thing I kind of glossed over that I'm really excited, like if you're going to get anything from this video, watch this one, because this one's super important. Are you a maximizer or a satisficer? Why it matters when buying a home. If you get nothing and just want to watch one thing, this one is it. This is the one that I think makes this whole video worth it, and just watch it. I mean, if you don't even want to download this, just Google this or just YouTube this title and you're going to find it, and you can just watch it for yourself, because all this is on YouTube already. This is just organized in a way so you don't have to keep bouncing on my YouTube channel, because everything is already kind of outlined here on Notion, and I made it into a deliverable as an ebook, right? So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please, if you want this, give me a comment below. I will email it to you, or if you already have a Notion account, even better, I can add you to my workspace. That way you can see this for yourself, right? I think it's pretty cool. I hope you like it. And if I'm open to making this better. So if there's something I left out or something you want to see to it after you kind of gone through it, please let me know in the comments. All right, thanks.